Hello, everyone. I must welcome you all to the webinar series, The B School Insider, all you need to know about your dream school. And I'm Kalyani, your host for this webinar. So today in the B School Insider, our topic is IIM Lucknow, campus life, academics and placements. So in this webinar, you'll get first-hand information on the campus life at IIM Lucknow, the personal journey of the 4 panelists who have joined us today pertaining to their CAT experience and their selection process to IIM Lucknow, why choose IIM Lucknow, find out about the placement opportunities, internships, and more. So let's welcome our 4 panelists today. We have Shivam Chopra. He is PGP 2021. He is with Landmark Group and he's in the finance department. We have Anand Gupta. He is PGP 2022. He's associate consultant with Payne and Company. We have Tyagesh Prabhu. He's PGP 2023. We have Shivani Pandey, also PGP 2023. Welcome all of you guys, and thank you so much for being here today for this session. So let's start from the CAT experience. So let's tell us about your CAT experience. How much did you score? How many months did you prepare for? And was there anything in particular that you did to get success? Maybe one tip each, because we will be covering in between quite a few things about the CAT prep and all that throughout the session. So we can start from Shivani Pandey, then Tyagesh Prabhu, then Anand Gupta, then Shivam Chopra. We'll go in the ascending order. Yeah, Shivani.
Hey, hello everyone. Hi, Kalyani. My CAT journey, right? I'll give you a brief about my background first. MBA is my second master's. I did my undergraduate in physics from St. Stephen's College. Then my post-graduation from IIT Bombay in applied geophysics. And post that, I was working with Schlumberger. It's an oil and gas firm. And after that, working for 35 months, I prepared for CAT and got through IIM Lucknow. So I decided to appear for CAT around June, and post that I started working. But since I was working simultaneously, it was only post dinner that I was able to work and prepare for CAT. So that is how I consistently worked for it, and I scored 98 percentile in CAT 2021. It was my first attempt. And one tip, I think, 2 most important things are to remain calm and be confident. I know it's cliche and everybody says it, but trust me, you ruin a lot of your interviews because you're not mindful of these facts. And if you look at it from a interviewer's perspective, right, they wouldn't want somebody who's a nervous wreck just because of an interview. Now, when you enter an institute like iimL, there are a lot more things that are going to happen with you throughout the journey. There'll be a number of ups and downs. So just be confident. That's my mind.
Okay. Yeah, Tyagesh.
Hey, hi Kalyani. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Very good morning to one and all present here. So with respect to my CAT experience, it's completely came as an out of blue because it was during the COVID time, 2020, and I was like, I was shifting from my first job to second job, and I had a spare months of 2 months like in between. So my friend suggested that why don't you appear for a CAT? I was like, okay, so why should I do that? He said like you can get into MBA, and he was explaining me all that. Basically, it was my friend's motivation because I wrote my CAT. And later on, like I found out that aptitude and whatever this quant part is very interesting to me, and I started working out a lot of some. So in this way, like I got more involved in this CAT. And then I gave my CAT attempt in 2020. And to be honest, even before that exam day, I was I was working. I was having a meeting with my CFO and all this stuff. So I just went and wrote like just an experience, right? What is going to happen? That way it just happened, and this a miraculous accident, I would say.
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. And you were already a CA at that time, right? Yeah. And you're from commerce background, right? Okay.
I'm from commerce background. I worked in Deloitte before that.
Right. Yeah.
So that is my background. And with respect to my CAT score, I scored about 92 percentile here. But the major part that helped me was my personal interview experience. It was completely stressful interview experience, and it helped me a lot to understand more about myself and what this MBA journey requires. To be honest, that interview actually helped me, and I enjoyed that interview as well. And with respect to my preparation, I was consistent, to be honest. Like for the last 6 months, I put all my efforts. So I didn't keep everything at the end of the last week. I don't want to study at the 11th hour. So I just wanted to spend my weekends because weekends anyway there is a lockdown, so I can't go outside. So I didn't have any other option. So I was focusing more on that.
Okay.
So
Okay. Okay. Yeah, Anand.
Yeah, sure. First of all, thanks, Kalyani, for this opportunity, and hi, fellow panelists. It's good to be on the other side of the table after a few
Yeah.
years. It's really good to be here. So I think I'll first relay my background. I'm
Hmm.
an engineer from DC, Delhi
Yeah.
Technological University, and then I've worked with KPMG for over 2 years.
Hmm.
So in fact, my CAT journey was not as I would say on the spot or instant as Tyagesh's and probably Shivani's. I didn't clear it in my first attempt.
Yeah.
It took me kind of 3 attempts to get there.
Okay.
So my first attempt was when I was in my last year at college, and the second one was the year next to that. So there I scored a percentile over 98, but I couldn't get into the dream college of which I was aiming for. So
Okay.
finally, in my third year of work with KPMG, that was when I scored around 99.2 percentile and was able to get into IIM Lucknow. A couple of tips which I would want to want the aspirants to keep in mind is that first of all, they need to be sure that they have one section which is very strong for them, and then the rest of the two sections are is something which they are confident that they'll be able to score, let's say, above 90 percentile. That is, I think, a minimum to get into a good college.
Right.
And for one, the other third section should be really good. And speaking from a PI perspective, just like Shivani pointed out, I think confidence is of utmost importance, and one should focus on aspects which are beyond your work or college experience also. So yeah, these would be my two tips.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Shivam.
Hi everyone. Thanks Kalyani for inviting us for this lovely panel discussion. Um, for me also it was similar to I think Anant and Shivani. I also gave a couple of attempts. So I was doing this in parallel to my job. So I had worked for around 3 years before joining IIM Lucknow.
Okay.
For me, the CAT preparation is more about consistency, as in you have to get the strategy right. It's not rocket science, but the strategy is the most important thing. So that takes a bit of time to understand and fine tune. Along with that, consistent practice on the weekends, because along with your job, you don't have too much time. So if you practice on weekends and get the strategy right and a groove of how the exam is going to be, I think that's pretty much it. On the interview, yes, you have to, I think, again, not get tensed or stressed, and just be who you are and answer with whatever you know, be it work experience, be it your academics, and a little bit aware of the general knowledge or current affairs would be helpful for your interview.
Right.
After that, yeah, I got into IIM Lucknow, and it has been a good journey ever since.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about now a little bit more about, you all have talked a little bit about PIs, but then can you guys take your own personal take? Of course, and also all the attendees, we will be taking questions in between regarding CAT prep, test prep, weak sections, which are the sections, how to prepare for, and all that in between the entire session. So stick around. Yeah. Okay. So for the PI, what were the questions that were asked, your personal questions that were asked, and what exactly would be the tip, as in even regarding the profile, like if somebody, so for example, Shivani had a lot of talking points during the interview, but what if someone is a fresher and they really don't have much there to talk about? So what all are those things that they can do?
So my interview experience with IIM Lucknow, we started off, I come from a physics background, right? So we started off with string theory. They asked me a question about string theory. I had zero idea. I told them right away, instead of just beating around the bush, I told them I've lost touch with it. And I never really worked on string theory as such. So after that, we started talking about what I worked on, as in my work experience, right? 35 months of significant work experience. So we spoke a little bit about that. And then we moved on to my extracurricular activities and PORs that I had in my college days. So as a fresher also, right, if you have PORs and if you are active in extracurricular activities, you do have a lot of talking points. So I was a dramatics enthusiast back in college. One simple question they asked me was, what did you learn from the entire experience? As if you look at it from the management perspective. So they will frame your questions. I mean, whatever it is that you've done, they will frame it so that you'll be able to answer. So it's not that you have to have a lot of talking points. Just keep doing things, try exploring new things. I think you'll get.
So my interview experience in IIM Lucknow was with respect to my work experience. They majorly focused on my work experience background. As I said, I was interning at a place called PK Shirantandanam, where I was a forensic auditor as well. So they were asking me what do you do as a forensic auditor? Like suppose if you are the forensic auditor of DHFL, that was the time where DHFL crisis was much famous. So if I am putting you in that position, I'm giving you 6 hours time. How are you going to handle it? So they wanted us to think ourselves as a future manager who is going to lead a company. So this is the one aspect that they definitely check. And one more thing, for example, I written about MSME. I worked in for MSME credit banking as well. So for that, they asked, do you know about the latest MSME definition? This shows that whether the candidate is up to the whether he is aware about the latest update or in his respective field at least. So that is one of the other aspects that they check, and other other questions like, are you willing to leave your current job and take up this MBA, 2 years MBA, and why MBA? And if you are, and I also mentioned about my ECA with respect to I play violin. So they asked, do you know the difference between violin and guitar? So they just wanted to know you are not at the surface level, but did you go to that depth to understand about your own particular field at least? So that is another aspect.
So how did you convince them about why MBA? Because you already had a career and you actually took CAT as a
Yeah, so I just explained them that I'm having a vertical expertise, but I also want a horizontal exposure across different domains. So it's like not only finance, I also want to learn about marketing and other aspects as well. So that is one of the aspects. And with respect to GD, we didn't have GD at that time, so our batch didn't have any GDs. And these were the topics and some special tips. If you wanted to give be very calm and patient. If you are nervous, the panelists will definitely know. Even if it is an offline or online interview, the panelists will definitely know because they are teachers of 30-40 years experience and they like people who are very confident. So generally they prefer that because they want to handle that stress, right? MBA colleges are known for their stressful experience. So they want to handle that. They check whether the candidate will be able to handle that much stress here. And they even ask us tell me the meaning of your name. And is your birth year a leap year? That kind of spontaneous question. So like a rapid fire round for 20-30 minutes. So okay. That was my overall interview experience.
Okay. Yeah. Anand.
Sure. So first of all, I think in PI, they basically look for depth rather than breadth, especially on topics which you should be comfortable with. Like your, let's say, your work experience or your undergrad, what you studied in undergrad. My PI experience, I was very sure that I don't want them to kind of ask me on my undergrad because I had also done engineering physics from DTU and I was not very comfortable with that. So I, in the first round, in the first few minutes when you try to tell them about yourself, I kind of steered the conversation more towards my work experience. But then I'd studied some finance and economics also side by side. So I kind of tried to end it at there. And that is where they picked up. And this, my PI revolved only around finance economics, which was not expected from them. So that is, I think, where I earlier mentioned, one can focus beyond aspects which they are more comfortable with. Like, let's say, my engineering or my work experience. That is one point. And secondly, if you have less depth in these topics, but you can show that you've covered some breadth, that also becomes important. So my interview lasted for only 10 minutes, but I think they were pretty convinced after that.
Okay. Yeah. Shivam?
Yeah. Hi. So for me, I'll break it into two parts. For someone who has a work experience, like 2 years, 3 years, similar to what I did, for them it becomes slightly easy because they can focus on their work experience, revise all their projects that they have done across their work experience, get into the depths of it, because there are more chances that it would revolve around that. A little bit of, again, revision on your current affairs really helps, because in some of my interviews there were direct questions on that. So for example, at that time there was some stuff going about the Rafale planes and similar instances, current affairs. So that would really help. For people who don't have work experience, you can definitely revise, or you can brush up your, for example, your undergrad subjects. If the course is too vast, you can probably pick up 1 or 2, so that even if a question comes up from any other subject, you can honestly own up that you are not so well prepared on that, but your favorite subject is probably XYZ, which you have prepped upon.
Okay.
But more than that, I think you in the interview you should be very calm. It's easier said than done, and yeah, so that's pretty much it. And just don't expect too much out of it, because your worst interview could be the one where you get selected, and the interview that you think you have performed the best, you might not get a call from that. So it's like pretty random also. So you have to work hard, prepare, but just be very spontaneous on that day, and don't expect too much out of it.
Yeah, but what about those people, who have got no talking points as such, as in work experience and all? So any tip for those? Anand, can you answer this? As in, what do you think, those guys should do?
Sure, definitely. So I think if you don't have work experience, your major points of focus would be something which you've covered in your undergrad, and also your PORs, your ECAs, and your internships. So internships are a good talking point also, because in the end they want to see how you can relay your internship experience and copy paste it to a future corporate experience.
Correct.
So I think anything which is beyond the rigid curriculum of undergrad, that is a good talking point for them.
Is IIM Lucknow good for MBA in marketing? Who would like to answer? Shivam or Anand? Either of the two. Shivam?
Yeah, sure.
Shivam would be best, I think.
Yeah, yeah, IIM is definitely, the short answer is it's definitely good in marketing. But again, there are some amazing professors there, like as I had mentioned last time also, Professor Rajiv Kumra, and there are so many professors. From a placement point as well, the marketing companies are there are a lot of all the legacy marketing companies are there, like your HULs, your PNGs, Mondelez, Nestle, and you name it, and it's there. From an academic standpoint, but I think you should not focus too much right from the start on what specialization you want, unless you already have a relevant work experience or you know enough about the industry. Then it's fine. Otherwise, just be open. As you might be knowing, IIM Lucknow is a college or is an institute for general management, and marketing is just a specialization that you can get. So you should not limit it to just thinking about marketing right from the start would be my advice.
Okay. Yeah, great. Okay, this question is for Shivani. How do we portray our work experience in a good light if we didn't work on very interesting projects and had too few contributions in the projects, since we were the junior most in the firm? Yeah, can you answer this?
If you don't have a significant work ex, I think 1 year is pretty small. And everybody knows that you wouldn't have contributed as much as, let's say, a 2-year or a 3-year experienced person, right? So even the interviewer is aware of that fact. And don't try to inflate numbers or anything on your CV. Okay. I think if you just sit back, take a step back, and try to analyze what you actually did, you can actually think of putting what you did in one sentence as what you did, what was it that you used to do it, and what was the final impact. So even a very small thing, like let's say, since you were there in the firm for, let's say, 1 year. So somebody joined the firm when you were about to leave. So you might have mentored that person with small things in the firm, right? Maybe how things go about, or maybe where are different directories located on the system, something of this sort, right? So you can also put such points in your CV under the mentoring and guidance bucket. So I think it's all about introspection. You just sit back and think about what you actually did, and you can actually put it in very good terms in your CV.
Okay. Does 10th or 12th percentage matters while the admission process in IIM Lucknow? Who would like to answer? Anyone? Tyagesh, you want to answer?
Yeah, Kalani.
Yeah.
So it is actually preferable if there is a 9-9 profile. I mean, people are preferred from that background.
Okay.
And there is also weightage to that. Like the scale score they will be calculating for the final composition score and all. Okay. So at that point of time, their percentage matters actually.
Okay.
There's a certain percentage of weightage given to, but it is as per the admission policy and it changes every year.
Okay. Okay.
So in our attempt, it was given importance, weightage.
Okay. Okay. A lot of people have this question about their profile for PI, as in, what if someone has a gap of 1 year after graduation, and that person is a fresher. How do they sit for that interview and make it, as in, if they have not done anything relevant during that period? What should be their talking point? And also, this is okay, internship, and as Anand said, that you said that internships really help. But what if somebody who is taking CAT this year, so has barely any time after prep to really get into an internship and get some valid talking points? So for those people, what should be the Anand, can you answer this?
Yeah, sure. So even in IIM Lucknow, there were plenty of candidates, plenty of students who had a gap, certain gap, if not for 1 year, let's say for 6 months.
Okay.
And most of these students, some of them were definitely freshers, and they banked on their undergrad, college, the kind of academic scores that they had, and internship that they had covered in college itself, not only
Okay.
after graduating, but something which they had covered in college itself. And based on that, it's also depends on how you can steer the interview. Let's say you have a hobby, or you have some kind of interest which can pique the interest of the interviewer, and a conversation starts around that. That is something which can get you through.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. We'll be, there are a few questions about placements and all. So yeah, all of you attendees who have asked those questions, we'll be taking it in the placement section. So now let's move to the next section, which is all about academics. So since Shivam was already talking about the academics, like professor and all that, so can you guys share your favorite class, favorite faculty member or a professor, or and why that particular class is so interesting? Maybe again, the current students can take the questions first, and then the alums. So Shivani, then Tyagesh, then Anand, then Shivam.
I think this term we've chosen our electives. So first year is completely the institute decides which subjects you're going to take. But this term we chose our subjects, and people told me that this technology, and innovation strategy was something that you should take if you want great learning. So it's a lot of effort in that class, but you do learn a lot. So I think that subject is my favorite. And what was the other question?
Yeah, so basically, who's your favorite professor so far? Yeah,
right. So it's
we have a bit of time still.
Professor Krishna Balodi.
Okay. And what does he teach?
Technology and innovation strategy.
Okay. All right. Tyagesh.
Yeah. So I would like to mention about Professor Madhumita ma'am.
Okay.
So she used to teach FRA. FRA is something like financial accounting. It's a nightmare for a lot of engineers.
Okay.
I am aware about the basic accounting concepts, but the way she used to convey it to other engineers, it's simply like mind blowing. Like the kind of patience, and she used to teach in such a lucid way that everyone can understand that. And that is something, though I've learned from different chart accountants and all this stuff, the way she teaches within the span of 3 months, the amount of portion that she covers and make everyone conceptually understand is something I really appreciate, and I'm really thankful for her. I mean, she's my favorite professor.
Yeah. Okay. Anand?
Yeah. I think Shivani stole my answer. I was also about to say Casey Balodi, but yeah, I think that's because he's a truly great professor. I'll go with an unconventional course. So an elective which I chose was leadership through literature, and that was taught by Professor Nija Pandey. It was an amazing course because you get to read a lot of books, which so I love reading, so that was fantastic for me, and it helped me learn a lot of life lessons, which I kind of was able to apply or kind of relate to my experience in IIM Lucknow. And prior to that, it's definitely worth taking up. So I'll advise students who get into IIM Lucknow do take it up.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Shivam.
Yeah, for me, in marketing, it was Professor Rajiv Kumra, and everyone who would be going to IIML, I would suggest please do take Professor Rajiv Kumra's class in your second year. It's very interesting. But from in finance, the Professor Ajay Garg was one of my favorite teachers because I really enjoyed his class, and that was the subject I got my most learning out of all the subjects.
Okay, how about the clubs and committees? Now, which all clubs and committees are there, and who all are members, and which club? Is it like a compulsory thing that you have to be part of one, or one of those clubs and committees? Tyagesh, can you answer?
I would like to take up this because starting
Okay, yeah.
this IIM Lucknow journey, like I was part of Ignition Committee first,
Yeah.
and then I moved to Bhavishya Committee, and it's a social initiatives committee, and then currently like I am the president of Student Council as well. So in this way, like I have a lot of POs here, and each POs taught me like very different stuff. Like it had actually improved the as a quality, like what is the Tyagesh bringing to this college and what he can do for this college or something in that aspect. And personally, it had led a lot of personal growth for me and how to manage stressful situation. If there is some event that has to be arranged at the last moment, how are you going to do about it? In that way, it had taught me a lot. There are currently 36 CCAs, clubs, committees, and academic interest groups here. And there are like 13 committees here. For example, Man First Varchasva and Bhavishya Committee, Disha Committee, Placement Mentorship Committee, like that. And clubs, this is basically the hobbies of different students. For example, singing, dancing, random walk, a 3.4, or acting, drama, Adivakti. And there are 7 AGs as well. These academic interest groups, they take care of students' placement preparation. In addition to that, they release like their monthly journals, and in which they can impart more knowledge about the specific domain. For example, Prism will take care of marketing. ICFI and Credence Capital will be taking care of finance and investment part. That way, academic interest groups works here.
Right. Okay. Okay. There are a few questions about one. There is a question for you, Tyagesh. Do they? Okay. Question for Tyagesh. Do they reduce the percentage of Tamil Nadu State Board students to match it with CBSE students? Is it a myth or actually true?
No. How the scaling works is for that particular year. If you are 2014 or 16 passed out, and among all the students who appeared for the Tamil Nadu board exam, and the scaling happens comparison into that student only. Okay. And it is not comparison in comparison with CBSE students or others. So that is how it is calculated.
Okay. What is the process of selection or specialization of your choice, like finance, marketing, after getting into a B school? Who would like to answer? Anand?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So there's a very fair and transparent bidding process in our college to select the subjects. And based on the combination subjects that you take, your specialization automatically gets decided. Like take 5 finance subjects, you get a finance specialization. Similarly, if you take 3 subjects of, let's say, some other course, you do get a specialization for that. So it depends upon the kind of subjects that you pick in your second year.
Okay. Shivani, there's a question for you. I'm a physics honors student. How should be my CV be for IIM?
So like Anant and all the other panelists also mentioned, right? If you do a lot of internships, you get a lot of talking points. I know physics is very research oriented and it's not really related to management, and it's difficult to tweak things in your CV so that you have something to talk to, let's say, a marketing person, right? Okay. But I think what internships bring to your CV is whatever it is that you are doing, you go into the depth of things, like everybody has been mentioning here. So that's the take, I think, which the interviewer also takes.
Okay. You've been so you were a geophysicist while when you applied for IIM Lucknow. So how did you? What was your talking point, as in to convince them, like, okay, I don't want to be part of that anymore, or I want to have that as well as this. I mean, what was it? What was your talking point for that?
So when I was working with Schlumberger, there were 2 teams I was part of, 1 year and 2 years in the 3 years that I was part of the firm. 1 year was major niche geophysics work where I was doing data analysis, geophysical data analysis. And the other 2 years were mostly part of a software that I was a QA member of, a quality assurance team member. So that is where I interacted with a lot of product managers.
Okay.
And which is where I got the idea that if I want to be at their place someday, MBA is the next logical step that I should go to. So that is how I put it in words while writing my SOPs and also during my PI with the panelists. That is how I wanted to steer my career, and it was believable because it was true, right? That is how I thought of doing an MBA.
Okay. Yeah. Can you guys all take us through your week section in CAT prep? As in, which part was your week section? Tyagesh, you can start, and then Shivani, then Shivam, then Anand. Yeah, I've changed I've scrambled it. Yeah. Okay, Tyagesh. So, and also, from a CA commerce background, anybody because maximum people are usually caretakers are engineering backgrounds. We all know that. But yeah, for those people, which are the sections? What are the challenges for them?
I mean, I remember Anand was mentioning like there should be at least one area where you should be very strong. So for me, it was VARC.
Okay.
So I used to read newspapers continuously and current affairs, and I was.
Was that your weak section,
No,
or
that
was that your strength?
But with respect to my weak section, it is definitely quants, because compared to engineers, like we have not even. Lastly, we studied during our 8th standard or 10th standard. After we are not involved in quants. So for that, what I did is some sectional test or mock test. The number of mock tests. I mean, people generally have a perception that I should take the test once I complete my studies.
Yeah.
It's not like that. As and when you go, because suddenly the CAT date will come, like November 27th. Now they have announced it, right?
Yeah.
You just pass on like anything, and you will be like, oh my god, I have not taken any test. So I would suggest, like, as and when you complete a topic, like take some test and try to assess where you are. And after 2 weeks, try to write the same test again and see whether you have improved. Because people tend to forget, like whatever they study 1 month back, and now if they want to write the test on that topic again, they may not remember as well. So in that way, taking multiple tests helps. So, and I'm not taking like there. I have seen like there are certain students who go like 50, 60 tests. I am not asking you to go to that extent. Just like be assured that you are on the right track. So that should be there. That is one of the key techniques that I would say. Don't be in the mindset that I will take the test only after completion of all the portions. That will never happen.
Okay.
So the more and more you learn, keep on coming. Like you get to learn more new things only.
Okay.
So that is one thing I would like to say.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Next, Shivani.
I didn't really have a very strong one section and a very weak one section. All three. Like when I took mocks, I think in August, September, I started taking mocks. So my percentile, the results that I got in my mocks were very inconsistent. I used to score a very high score in one of the subject in one mock, and the same would be the least in the second mock. So don't take these mocks very seriously also. Of course, they're an indicator of your preparation, but frankly, I did not score. The first mock that I took, I scored 94 percentile. And after that, all the mocks that I've taken, it was always less than 90.
Okay.
And the final exam, I was able to score much better. So don't take these as very seriously, but of course they are an indicator of your preparation. Regarding my strongest section, I think I was very comfortable with the logical reasoning section. And the second was quant, and the final was the reading section. For reading section, I had to train myself to sit for for 1 complete hour to read those sections and answer those questions, right? So that takes some habit building. So I would recommend start that right off, because it will take some time to build that habit.
Correct.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah, Anand. Okay, you can also tell us, like, since you took it 3 times and then finally the final. So what was that last bit that got you in?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I was actually coming to that only. So my weak sections varied across all the 3 tests. I think at first I scored the least in VRC, then least in LRDI, and my third cat attempt I scored the least in quant. It's actually true. So yeah, I have all the weak sections. I feel one thing which I improved was on my VARC from my first cat attempt to my last. So here, apart from being, let's say, improving your reading speed and stuff like that, it's what is key is to answer the question, eliminate the options, and just automatically the right option appears. So that is what I learned in my last CAT attempt, and that is what helped me get a very good VARC score, which kind of helped me to get into IIM Lucknow. So yeah, I think that is what worked for me. That
Okay. Yeah, Shivam.
Yeah, for me, my strongest section apparently was quant, since I'm an engineer. But the turn of events was such that I performed the best in VARC and the worst in quant. So one thing is, you shouldn't be complacent with your strengths and everything. You have to have a balanced approach. Anyways, you have to meet a cutoff in all 3 sections. But I enjoyed the most preparing for VARC. So actually, the best thing would happen if you identify your weak section and you prepare so much around it that it becomes your favorite. That is the best thing. However, be very, very careful about the LRDI, because quant and VRC you can still manage on that day. Let's say you start off a section and it doesn't go so well, you will still be able to keep your calm and kind of get back to it. but LRDI is most tricky, and you have to choose your questions very carefully. And if you don't have a practice of choosing the correct questions, that section can become a disaster, and it can become like a do or die situation and make or break for your CAT. So you have a very good practice on LRDI, I would say.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So let's move to the next section, which is all about internships and placements. So we'll actually start with the first question that was there. So let me scroll up. Yeah. What are the CV selection criteria of MBB in placement of IIM? Anand.
I think that's a mystery which no one has solved. No one knows exactly how MBB shortlist, and I think Shivam would know the best. But yeah, one thing that I would like to point out is that in the end, what is the general consensus is that MBB basically looks for hygiene factors across different sections of your profile, whether it's acads, placements, acads, work experience, your prior internships and ECAs and PORs. But then they also look for a couple of spikes in certain sections. So if I would have to sum it up, let's say that if you have a very standard profile, but you've done something which stands out in one of those sections, in one section or a couple of sections, you have a very good chance of getting selected into MBB. But then a disclaimer, absolutely no one knows how they go about. People feel they have a very good profile, but they don't get through. People like me don't have a good profile, but they get through. So it completely differs.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about the summer internship. Shivani and Tyagesh, can you guys take us through a little bit about your summer internship experience and how exactly it happens? And Shivani and Tyagesh, you guys can take it in parts. So Shivani, you can start, and then Tyagesh, you can keep pitching in.
Right. Yeah. So the selection starts off, you start preparing for your summer internships in the term one itself. The seniors help you and guide you through the process.
Okay.
And towards the end of the term one, which is I think September, around that time you have your interviews, and you get the firm that you'll be interning with next year. Then I interned with MasterCard this year only. So my internship started in April first week, and it's about 8 to 9 weeks generally. And during the internship, summer internships are a very good opportunity if you don't know which role you want to go ahead after MBA, right? So for me, I was confused between consulting and product management. So I thought, why not just give one a try with the internship, and then if I'm not happy with the role, or probably I want to explore further, I always have a second chance during my final placements. Right?
Good point.
So also you get to connect with a lot of people in the firm. Once you get into the firm, all of these people, senior people in the firm, right? They are from IIMs only, so they know where you are coming from. So you can connect with them on that level and learn from them as to what their journey has been. And in terms of work, I think a lot of people work on a lot of projects which they actually see getting implemented the very next year if they join the same firm. Which is a very impactful. I love that fact.
Okay. Yeah, Tyagesh, you want to add something? And you can also talk about your summer internship.
Definitely. I think Shivani pretty much covered the key aspects of the summer internship process. And my internship was at Access Capital, front-end investment banking. So for me, like coming from finance background and getting into finance again, core finance. So the journey was pretty easy.
But was that your plan? Is that your plan? Like, since you were already in finance, you were deep into finance with CA. So, and now again, your internship was also that. So is that the career trajectory you want to take?
So earlier I was doing due diligence in Deloitte, like Big Four, one of the Big Fours only. And then now I actually plan to do IB only. Initially, I want to take up finance because anyway it is 2 months, and I wanted to explore like what are the different areas in an IB. For example, it starts with coverage of corporate finance, M&A, ECF, like multiple departments over there, and how do they entirely function as a whole? And where do I see my career growth if I stay there for like next 10 to 15 years? How am I going to grow? So that is one of the key factors I had in my mind, and I got that opportunity there, and the learning curve was pretty good there, especially because I was from a finance background, but I was given a project on TMT, like technology and stuff. So it was completely new, and that entire 8 weeks was very good learning for me. And the people are so helpful. As Shivani pointed out, we will be having our alums who will be guiding us like do in and out of the entire project, and they focus. I mean, there are certain firms like they focus majorly on the learning. That what is the student learning out of this internship process, and they also pick up those projects which is not very redundant or which is not like very like traditional or something. They pick up those projects which is in the current trend. They want to identify if this person is able to tap the market opportunity.
Correct. Okay.
So that way it was very much helpful.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So let's talk about the placement process. Shivam, can you answer this one? The placement process at IIM Lucknow, and also along with it, your experience. How did you get placed with Landmark Group?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So the placement process of IIM Lucknow, each IIM has a very unique placement process, and it is slightly different to each other. The technicalities are different. In IIM Lucknow, it is like it's a kind of 2-day event, 2 to 3 days of event, wherein all the companies visit the campus back to back.
Do they also follow cluster like IIM Ahmedabad?
IIM Lucknow doesn't follow cluster-wise placement. It's a day-wise placement.
Okay.
Wherein in the first day, finance and consulting primarily visit. In the second day, it's mostly like product management companies. Then there are some marketing giants, some Indian banks, reputed banks, and so on and so forth. And the day two probably is mostly for good startups. A lot of upcoming startups visit the campus. So this is how the placement process is placed, wherein and you can sit for you can apply for all the domains. Are not restricted by any specialization or such. So in summers, again, you sit for the placement process, you get through a company, and you do the summer placement, summer internship for that company in the next. So the placement is around in October, and you do your summer internship in the next June. And then there is a process called laterals, or we call it HEP. It is basically for all the people who have a work. It's a final process of sort, and it is for all the people who have a work experience. It could be any cutoff. Mostly it's 1 year or 1.5 years. So all those students who have a work experience higher than, let's say, 1 year, are able to sit for HEP, which has many companies primarily on the product management like Microsoft, Flipkart, Amazon, and many more. Then you have the final placement, which happens in the January of your second year, wherein again it's similar to summer placements, but all the students can sit, whoever are applying for the final placements. Here again you have companies from consulting, finance, marketing, general management.
Okay. Yeah. So how exactly Landmark happened?
So Landmark happened. So Landmark is one of the international companies that visit our campus. It was the first year during my summer internship. It was, I think, 2019. It was the first year when Landmark had come for summer internship. Before that, it had come for finals. See, placement process is a Russian roulette. So you just get into the process, you go through the companies one by one, and you get into one of them based on your interest and the company's interest. So I would say it was, I didn't prepare specifically for it, but it happened like by chance. But it was a very pleasant experience. So I got a summer internship in Dubai. It's based out of Dubai. So I got a summer placement, then I converted it. And later on also, I felt that the role was very, very interesting, and it was a great area to grow. So then I did not sit for any of the other companies in finals and chose to come to Dubai, because I also wanted an international experience. So I didn't want to let go of this opportunity. And currently I'm based out of that only. And initially I did a role in strategy, and now I am doing a role in finance.
Yeah. Okay. Anand, can you talk about your placement experience with Bain and Company? What were the kind of questions that were asked?
Yeah, definitely. So, in fact, the consulting firms usually follow a month-long process prior to the placement day. it's a buddy process where they assign you a person from the company who interacts with you periodically, and they review. Basically, the basic premise of all the consulting firms is judging you on how you can solve business cases.
Okay.
So buddy or any other member of the firm, they usually interact with you, and in the end they have a 30-minute case solving session with you where they judge how you're able to solve a case.
Right.
And then once they've made that kind of assessment on the main day of placement, it's a matter of 40-50 minutes where they decide with a couple of business cases. They decide whether they like your structure and approach, and then they pick you based on that. So it's very less compared to it's very less HR questions or questions around your profile. They've already assessed that. They've shortlisted you. It's more on how you can solve a business problem.
Shivani, this is for you. I have completed my MSc in 2021 and I want to switch careers. Hence, I'm taking the CAT for the second time this year. What all can I do to build my profile? And also maybe, you can just give a few tips, because I think, she's taking CAT this year. Yeah.
A lot of people do that. We have a lot of couple of lawyers, couple of doctors, and people who've done research all their life and then come here to switch, maybe move to the corporate world. So you don't have to feel an outlier. It's okay. And regarding regarding your profile building, right? I think if you've done MSc, you must have done some projects. So just those will help. And if you're not doing anything right now, just preparing for your CAT, maybe you can take up some internship or something that you can do in your day. Let's say you can teach somewhere. If you can manage that, that will help you build your profile. Or if you want to get into, let's say, marketing, and you have zero things about marketing on your profile, maybe starting off with an online course will help. And if you can get some internship through your contacts, that will also help. Internship, LinkedIn, all of these platforms really help you get internships. So if you can manage your time, maybe start looking at these options to build your profile.
Okay. The same person is also asking which type of projects.
Which type of projects in... so you want to switch your career, and maybe you want to, right now you're in physics and you want to get into, let's say, consulting. On LinkedIn, you can probably reach out to people saying that you're willing to work and learn, and they can do some projects. These are called live projects, something that a firm is already doing, and you sort of shadow them and help them with small things, just trying to understand how things are usually done. Right? So these kinds of projects, call them live projects.
Okay. Does IIML have operations placements? Anant, can you tell us a little bit about the top recruiters or the kind of recruiters who are there? I mean, of course, Shivam already kind of covered a lot, but yeah, I mean, operations placement, is IIM Lucknow having enough options for somebody who's from operations or supply chain?
Yeah, definitely. IIM has a lot of ops role. Many very core SCM firms like Blue Yonder and a lot of firms, I'm unable to place the names, but IIML, on the top IIMs, they basically have a breadth of roles across all the functions. There is not any role which you won't get in this campus across the common functions. So I don't think anyone should doubt or have concerns about whether they will get an opportunity to work in that role.
Okay. Tell me, if somebody has, Thyagesh, this is for you. If a person has been, has been preparing for CA or CFA and has dropped out and at the last moment didn't do much about it, and now has taken CAT and is sitting for a PI, how exactly is that person? What would you tell that person to talk about? I mean, why? What? I mean, how would they even convince that? Because obviously, it kind of shows that, okay, is there a lack of consistency or something? Why? How do you answer that kind of a question?
I would request that person to, I would request to know more about that person, whether he had undergrad college. So if he had done undergrad college and then did CA along with the college experience, then if he's dropping out CA, then it's okay.
Okay.
And this undergrad college experience will help. That will be the talking point.
Okay.
During the gap year, what are the kind of activities? For example, if it's a failed startup, it's fine. They still tried out, and people appreciate that fact. And or if they are working on some live projects or on like any projects or internships that they are able to crack it. So that and they can ECA. Someone asked us to explain about what is ECA and P, or ECA is like Duty is and PR is like question of responsibility.
Hmm.
And for example, if they're genuinely interested in doing some social activities, they
Okay.
can join some NGO, they can start teaching some kids, and they can build a curriculum for them. And in that way, they can build their profile. And whatever done is done, right? I mean, we can't change anything now. But
Yeah.
today, if they want to do something, if they want to create some impact, I mean, they can start working on that.
Okay. Yeah. Anand, which subjects one should select to take consulting specializations? We're talking about the electives probably. So yeah, what all are the electives that they can probably take up if they've decided that they'll be getting into consulting?
Sure. Though consulting is not exactly directly linked to the subjects that you pick, but my advice would be definitely go for strategy and finance. IIML, especially as a host of great strategy courses, like we mentioned by Casey Balodi and other professors. Strategy courses help you to kind of have certain frameworks in mind, which can help you in case solving. And finance courses will help you to strengthen when the conversation steers around calculating profit and the numbers around it. So that's where the finance courses will help you. Yeah.
Okay. I have work experience of 24 months in finance, and then I quit my job to prepare for UPSC, but I couldn't crack it. Now I have a gap for more than 12 months. This is my first CAT. Will this affect my selection chances very negatively? And what can I do now to improve my chances and my profile? Who will like to answer? Shivani or Tyagesh? Or Shivam for that matter? Yeah. Tyagesh?
Okay. Yeah, I will go ahead. Like in our batch also, like we are having couple of students. I mean, who had a gap year because of UPSC preparation. So it is not considered as a negative aspect. People appreciate that they are. I mean, they are trying to appear for UPSC, and it is a very competitive exam. People understand that, and it will not have any adverse impact over their profile. So it's fine.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll be taking we'll be taking suggestions from all the speakers when we are before we wrap up. But before that, Shivani, do you have some photos to share from the campus? Anand, do you have any? Shivam, of course, doesn't have. He has already told me. So yeah, Shivani, you can please share whatever photos you have. Anand, do you have any? No.
Yeah, I'll just check out, I think.
Yeah,
Give me a
just
second.
see if you have. Otherwise, that's fine. And then by the time, before we wrap up, we'll take one tip each. So think about the one tip that you would really like to take. Of course, I have a specific question for Tyagesh and Shivani, because both of them took CAT in that time when the pattern was, and when the time duration was for 2 hours. So yeah, so we'll take that from them. And the rest, probably one PI tip from Shivam and one CAT tip from Anand. Yeah. Currently, I'm in second year and I don't have any work experience. Am I doing right? Shivam, can you answer? Yeah, Shivani, you can share it.
I would say just second year of undergrad, I guess, right?
Yes.
Yeah, focus on your undergrad first. Don't think about IIM right now. First complete your undergrad, and then probably in the last year you can attempt CAT, get a feel of it, see how your performance has been, what the exam is. Then prepare in parallel to your work or whatever projects you are doing.
Okay.
And just don't take too much stress about it right from the second year of undergrad. First complete that, I would suggest.
That's really funny that, Shivam was talking about stress, not to stress about, and Shivani was showing a photo where
this is actually Tyagesh. This is from last year when we were preparing for our summer internships, I think. And the person on the laptop who's actually giving is one of our seniors. He was giving a knowledge transfer. And that's Tyagesh working hard.
It was like morning 3 a.m. I guess. The KT was happening at that time. So it was like after some 6 to 7. I mean, we had lectures from starting from 9 o'clock in the morning and it went till like 6 or 7 p.m. in the evening.
Yeah.
And the session started and it's like, okay.
Yeah, Shivani, next.
This is another one. So we have section war. So when you enter the college, you're divided into a lot of sections. So Tyagesh and I were in the same section B, at least in the first year. So there are cultural section wars and then sports cultural section wars. So we had to come up with a section photo, I think, and that is how these are all our classmates who actually came up with this photo for the competition. One of them. I also have a video. I am unable to download it.
Any other photos? Anand, do you have any photos?
Sure, just give me a second.
Yeah. Okay, tell me something now that 27th November. Anand, just give me a second. Yeah. If 27th November is CAT, so what do you think? If someone has just started preparing, say last month, do you think they have a chance to crack it? Yeah, I mean, Shivani is definitely, she's saying, she's nodding, she's saying yes. Tyagesh, of course, you
Definitely,
taking
yes.
it because yeah. So, but do you think there should be some kind of a particular plan for that, as in to crack it, Shivani? Any particular way that they can do that in these?
I think all of us, we were preparing for CAT while we were working, right? So we anyway didn't have a lot of hours in the 24 hours that you have to prepare for CAT. So even if you're starting off today, if you can put just 1 hour extra every day, not preparing 3 hours, maybe putting in 4 hours every day, consistently, I think you stand the same chance as anybody who started preparing, let's say, in April. So it's the consistency that matters.
Okay, yeah, Anand, you were showing some photos.
These are the parties
video.
that we are.
Nice.
It's a 1 second video. These are the parties that we have in campus. I think
So
all of us miss this.
Oh,
this is something which,
okay,
all
so
of
this
us
is this is in the campus, was it?
This is right,
nice.
Right. These are some of the pics from dramatics events. So iimL has a host of different activities. These are our classroom photos, and these are one of our birthday celebrations. So glimpse of campus life. Good to revisit that.
Great. Okay, so now before we wrap up, I will take a few questions from the students, from the attendees, and also there is okay, Shivani and Tyagesh, can you tell us about with the the 2 hours, what are the tips you would give to the CAT taker this year, because now the duration has been decided that it's going to be again 2 hours for the test. So so what should they be doing? Is it any particular way they should approach the entire test? Shivani and Tyagesh, each can give maybe one tip, one suggestion.
Right. So last year, no, before 2020, when we was preparing for our CAT, we initially started off with 3 hours mock, and I think it was around August sometime that this notification came. It will be for 2 hours that year because of COVID. So it sort of worked for me because 3 hours was a very long time to use 100% of my brain, I think. So when it got shrunk to 40 minutes per section, it sort of helped me. And for sections so when the time limit has gone down by 20 minutes per section, right? So it's very important that you pick and choose questions intelligently. Like you have to be sure that you can answer this question, especially for a section like, let's say, logical reasoning. The question is huge and it takes a lot of your time to understand it. So if you know from practice that you will be able to crack it, put in that time. Otherwise, I would recommend go through the entire section first before choosing the questions that you want to answer. That is one important tip. And I think because the time has reduced, it sort of increases your efficiency. That's a personal opinion. So don't worry, the time has reduced for everyone. So
correct.
It's a fair playing field, right? Even now. So don't worry about it. Just practice with the 2 hours mock test. It should be all right.
Okay. Tyagesh, you want to add anything?
Yeah, I mean, one important tip that I would like to add is sleep well. I mean, don't study like 8 a.m. in the morning. Like, it's not, I mean, you are prepared for 6 months or so. It's fine. Like, it's okay even if you're not studying the before day. I mean, just try to stay calm and confident. Like,
Okay. There's a question. I don't have any corporate experience as such, but I'm a founder of an NGO and running my own NGO. So would it be considered or not? And also, I'm from sports background earlier, like I played cricket. Please, okay, take the question. We are taking this question. Shivam, can you answer?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I think my personal opinion is focus on CAT first. All of this is secondary. Anyways, if you are thinking of getting into IIM or any college, first focus on CAT. Crack the CAT with as high a percentile as possible, because there is many people ask what is the safe percentile to get into. It's not like you can just choose like I'll get 99.1 and you can stop there, right? So everyone has to try to achieve the highest marks possible. So everyone who has profile based questions, anyways, first focus on CAT. Don't think about profile or anything like that. Once you have cracked CAT, you get the result in January, February, whatever. Then anyways, you have to get into the PIs and everything. So don't focus on all of this from now. Just focus on CAT and try to get as high a percentile as possible. Don't think about percentile 99 or 98, this college, that college. Once you get the percentile, then you can think about the college.
Okay.
Also give a very balanced, try to get highest marks in each of the sections, because it's sectional cutoff is very important. If you miss any of the subjects, you won't be able to get into your dream college. You might get a high overall percentile, but if your sectionals get messed up, then that might become a big challenge. So have a balanced approach and just focus on CAT percentile, nothing else right now.
Okay. I've done masters in political science from Jamia Millia, prepared for UPSC for 12 months, having 12 months of experience in an unorganized sector. Will this kind of profile affect the placement chances? Anand, can you answer?
I feel that many companies look for diverse profiles. There's no profile which companies look for. So definitely the profile that you mentioned, it has, it would be very valuable for certain companies.
Very different. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So I feel every profile, once you're in IIM Lucknow or any other college for that matter, you're definitely a good profile, because you've gone through that entire interview process and you have a good chance for a lot of good placements.
Okay. Shivam, do you have any suggestions for PI for our attendees? And Anand, I'll be asking you a great tip to prepare for all the sections, so that they don't leave out any. Yeah, Shivam.
Yeah, for PI, just 2-3 major points. One is once you have got the required amount of required percentile, and then you start your preparation, there's a lot of content and material available on YouTube, blogs, etc. But the thing is, just be updated with your current affairs, reading newspaper like the Guardian, the Hindu, and there is also a website called Aeon. So if you read a lot, it will help your prep for VARC, as well as keep you prepared once you start the PIs. So that is very important. Secondly, just brush up on whatever. If you have work experience, brush up on your projects. If you are fresher, brush up on your undergrad academics, all of that. And lastly, just be very relaxed about it, because you really cannot control the PI questions and the outcome of it. Just go in, give your answers, be genuine, have a logic for everything, and it should be fine. It's 50% work, hard work and practice, 50% luck, in my opinion, for PIs.
Okay. Yeah. Anand, CAT tip.
Yeah.
All the sections.
Yeah. I think I'll give a
you can just give, you can just give your learning, like
right,
3 times. So yeah, so what they should not be
doing. Sure.
Maybe.
Definitely. I think after so many attempts, one tip which I would want to give is that just be very consistent with all your mocks. That is something which is in the end, which will decide how you which will decide how you end up with your CAT score. Don't leave mocks for the last moment, or don't have a very large gap between giving mocks. And one more thing is that keep on assessing yourselves. Once you try to identify your strong sections, focus on that, but also ensure that your weak sections are something which is not very weak, which should be up to a certain percentile. Definitely you'll get a good percentile if you kind of reassess yourself. Yep.
Okay. Tyagesh, do you think, they should, when is the last time when, you think one should be giving like the last mock before CAT? So if it's 27 November, when do you think, should be the last mock?
I think 1 week prior to that, they should stop. 1 week prior to 27th.
Yeah, Shivani? 1 week?
1 week at least. 1 week to 10 days, I think they should stop giving any mocks.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Because,
yeah.
Because I did that mistake. I actually took 2 weeks off before CAT, just so that I could really increase the number of mocks I could do, right? But that 1 week was very stressful, because I ended up performing very poorly in all of those mocks. So it brought down my confidence level. So I did not touch my books. I think 4 to 5 days before the exams, I just left it. Dekha jayega jo hoga wala, ho gaya tha. But on the final day, because I was calm and not confident really, I was calm that it's okay. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We'll see next year. So that was the philosophy that I went with. And things happened.
So somebody has written, I just started my CAT prep. My current mock scores are going negative. Is it too bad to start with?
I think if you're starting off, that is the best part. Starting off is the best part, irrespective of what score you are. Definitely, you'll improve. It's just persistence, focus, and couple of good traits, and you'll make it through.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Shivani Pandey. Thank you, Tyagesh Prabhu. Thank you, Anand Gupta. Thank you, Shivam Chopra. Thank you so much for you guys, the insights that you guys give on not just CAT prep, but also IIM Lucknow, plus placements, plus the overall how to look at the entire MBA journey. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.